Hi, this is Immigration Attorney Curtis Morrison, and I'm giving an update of Judge Mehta's hearing today. And it's September the 14th. Okay, and this is the hearing in Mohammed, Gomez, Aker, Fong Jong, and Panda. Okay, so an emergency status conference, right? So the first issue that the judge covered today was the Schengen ban and the regional bans, like the Schengen area of Europe and the UK, Brazil, China, Iran. We have a lot of plaintiffs there that are affected by this. And it's a 14-day ban. It says that you can't get go to the U.S. if you've been in one of these countries for 14 days. The ban does not say that you can't get the visa, though. So really, they should be issuing the visas anyway. So we challenged that the State Department is not implementing the judge's order the way they should. The judge understands what we meant. The judge understands how illogical the State Department's implementation is, but he did not make a decision today on that, okay? He acted like he might, but he's thinking about it. He's taking it under advisement. He said he needed to think about it, okay? It involves a lot of legal issues that he just wants to be sure about, okay? And then next thing I want to mention that there's a lot of questions about whether or not he wanted the State Department to prioritize named plaintiffs in the lawsuit over all DV winners, and he did. He reiterated that today, and he thinks that the State Department is doing that to some extent, and he wants them to continue to do that. Okay. The State Department, their lawyer, James Wynn, explained that the implementation is still in process. So what you see now with non-responsiveness by embassies, that could change in the next day or 2 days even, because they are still implementing the order. I know, it's been 9 days, 10 days. They should have had it implemented, but they are still working on it, and he admitted that. Okay. The Gomez and Aker attorneys argued that medicals should get extension to where they're good for longer than what they normally are good for, which I believe was 6 months, but some other things were said in the call. Anyway, that was not our effort, the Mohammed Fong Jong effort. That was the Aker and Gomez plaintiffs' attorneys. And it looks like the judge is not willing to go there. What he did is he recommended that the government attorneys go back to the State Department, have the State Department go to the CDC and see if they will go for that. And the government attorneys said that they would do that. So one of those steps is in motion. I don't know how that's going to play out. Okay, and the final thing is our attorneys, Raphael particularly, advocated strenuously in the briefing and in the oral arguments for for a solution for people that are just stuck, that can't do anything by 9:30. The two examples he used were Cubans who can't leave the island because of an order by the Cuban government, and Azerbaijan. Okay. Maybe I said that wrong. Anyway, they have a similar situation. There are several countries that have this situation where they cannot leave the country to get to the embassy by September 30th. Anyway, the judge is not going to go there. He's decided that he's not going to interfere in those decisions, like make Havana open for consular interviews. He's not going to do that. He says if State Department does that on its own, he's okay with it, but he's not going to interfere in those decisions. So that was disappointing that we didn't get a win on that today, because that means the last hope, which brings me to the final thing, is for an extension of the September 30th deadline. One thing we know, the judge has said he's not going to make that decision until after September 21st, okay? And he's going to make that decision based on the report that the State Department gives him on, I think that's due on September 21st. So if you're in one of those situations where there's no way you can get to your interview before September 30th, there's no way that can happen, don't give up hope yet, because there is a chance, especially if you're a named plaintiff. If you're not a named plaintiff, that it's not looking good. But if you're a named plaintiff especially, don't give up hope yet, because the judge could extend the deadline, and he's going to make that decision between September 21st and September 30th, okay? And then final thing, the DV 3.0 case, we are not taking any more signups for that. If you have not requested an onboarding email, you cannot request one. You cannot get an exception. I'm not letting anyone else on that case. It's got plenty of plaintiffs, and we've got to get that wrapped up and get it filed, okay? Our deadline is to file that on Tuesday. So our internal deadline, that's what we want to do. And so if you started the process, like you got your onboarding email and your retainer agreement, but you haven't paid, or you haven't sent us the retainer agreement, or you haven't sent us the questionnaire, you need to finish that process by midnight, okay? After midnight, I am not taking another plaintiff on that case.